Our men were out there toiling and doing everything else. We forgot about the lynchings. We forgot about the castration, castigations, all those things that took place. We don't want to deal with where our people came from. We forgot about all those things that have taken place. But we cry for liberty. We cry for freedom. And we cry for justice. Not until you have the truth are you going to get either of them. We have to recognize that we want to be hidden, and we don't want to deal with the fact of segregation and integration. Segregation was when you lived on one side. We lived on the other side of the track when I was growing up. And the bottom line is, integration has never taken place, and nobody wants to talk about it. In DeKalb County, the schools are over 88% of people, children of color. And every time we get close and thinking that they want to integrate to be with us, what do? They call it white and white. They just move. They can have a house over here and buy another one over there, but you have to stay where you are. Integration, the truth, has never taken place. Until a society is integrated, the schools can't be integrated. Everywhere you go, you're going to find separatism. And the closer you get to thinking that you're a part of, the further they move away. So the bottom line is, you can't be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. The truth about education. We have more children dropping out now than ever before. We have more undereducated, miseducated, uneducated. Wonder why our young men are packing guns, because they don't pack any education. All you have to do is begin to look at the fact that you can equate education along with the crime. And we have our district attorney here. The bottom line comes down to it, the less educated, the greater the crime. Because you know, people, they call it white collar because it's usually not us. But when you have white collar crime, they're going to think about it. They're going to plan it out. They know every pace, how many steps it takes to get to the door before the door clicks open. They're going to have it all strapped out. They're going to have it all together. But when you begin to look at those who don't have an education and who are trying to get ahead, they just wake up that morning and think about the fact that I need to be able to have something. I need to get those sneakers. I need to be able to feed my children. I need to be able to just make myself look good. What we've done is educated our people about material things. And we have to get them the wisdom and the knowledge and so if you're talking about education, the truth about education, we're not too far ahead, because I can remember going to school and you had teachers who cared. Not that we don't have them now, but you had parents who are part of it. These days you have parents, African American parents, who are baiting their roles as parents. And you want to know what the school can do? Get the parents to do something. Take responsibility. You talk about education. We have less boys, males, going on to college than you have girls. There's a discrepancy here. We have to have the truth about genocide. You don't want to believe it, but there is an attempt. The more that they can kill off. I like what Dr. Frances Cress Wellesley said before she died. Is that a woman cannot effect intercourse. A man is the only one who can effect intercourse. Right. So every time, and I thought about this, every time you kill off a black male, you kill off 2 children. Every time you kill off a black female, you kill off another 2 children. So when you begin to look at it, and the realities of it, that after a while, the whole intent is so that we don't exist anymore. But we don't want to talk the truth about that. And then we talk about education, OSD. The Opportunity School District. I'm here to say to you today, it is not an opportunity. Anytime the state and the government can come in and say, I'm going to take over your schools and fix it. If you can fix it over there, why can't you fix it over here? And we want to tell the truth about it. So I liken that unto Jim Jones. You all remember Jim Jones? Jim Jones made us believe our people that he can be able to heal, take them to salvation, fix everything for them. One of the things you better recognize, you don't want to know the truth about it, is what they do. They render us hopeless, helpless, and nowhere to go. Then they come in and they scoop us up and make us believe that they're fixing it. But I'm here to tell you today, the truth about education, the Kool-Aid is still taken. That other thing about education is there's a pipeline to prison. So the DA knows on that other side, by the time an African-American male gets to third grade, he's already going to school with high self-esteem.
They're predicting the prison.
I have a 7-year-old grandson. I have other grandchildren, but 7-year-old. And I had to remind this teacher, who doesn't look like one of them, that you might have your pipeline together, but it will never happen with one of mine. The other thing is, as people, we have to be the base and the basis of the education of our children. We don't turn our education over to any system. How many of you do I see out at the board meetings? How many of you do we see out here actually saying, here's what we want? We lay down and take whatever they give us without having a say. Yeah, we are your board, but we need your support. So that pipeline to prison starts at third grade. They start counting the jail cells. They start counting the beds. They start looking. How many African-American males are we going to have soon? See, while we sleep and we're not speaking to each other, they're planning, calculating. They already know it. And then when it happens, we all say it's a surprise. No, you were just asleep. That's the truth about it.
Joyce. Right in the cages.
If we look at the truth and we look at the fact that freedom, liberty, and justice are mindset, then we have to get that. And we have to call up some of the people who can testify. And I call it the freedom roll call. Do you remember Jesus Christ? Who died on a Friday?
Yeah, got up.
Hung his head, pierced side, pierced hands, pierced feet. But he got up on the third day.
Yeah.
That was the first freedom call. Do you remember Crispus Attucks? He was the first one to die in the American Revolution. How about, when you think about it, Harriet Tubman? Harriet Tubman was an abolitionist who led many people along the way. Came through the whole process of the Underground Railroad. And what about Sojourner Truth? Sojourner Truth didn't look like one of the girls that women, that the men would be looking at today. But she said, ain't I a woman?
Yeah. Big time.
And some of our brothers still have problems today saying, isn't she a woman? Don't I have a mother for a woman? Don't I have a sister as a woman? How do I respect this woman? We seem to see something totally different. We forgot about what Sojourner Truth said, ain't I a woman?
Yeah.
And what about Nat Turner?
Nat Turner.
Remember Nat Turner?
Yeah.
The insurrectionist.
Yeah.
He didn't have a problem starting the fight. He didn't have a problem making things happen.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to fight, not with like that way, but you fight with your mouth, and you don't have to curse. You don't have to call names. You don't have to be a Donald Trump. But you can still have a place and have something to say. Nat Turner had an insurrection, but we're afraid to have insurrection. You know, sometimes I said to the people in the community about education and trying to get parents out. And in Florida, and when I was in Rochester, New York, we'd have bullhorns going through the community. Yeah. But we're too cute now. We have our Gucci's and our Lucci's, and we have our red bottoms that we're struggling to pay for. We got all these things. But we forgot how to raise up and rise up out of everything that's going on. So as we continue with the freedom roll call, what about John Brown, the abolitionist? What about Frederick Douglass? Remember him? Y'all remember Fannie Lou Hamer? What about Marcus Garvey? What about Carter G. Woodson, who also was a historian? What about the Tuskegee Airmen? Remember them? Nobody wants to talk about that. What about Benjamin E. Mays, who once said, you don't see a door when you go in the room? They find a window. You don't see a window? Make yourself a door. We get so caught up with being stuck in rooms that we don't believe that we can get out of. We don't find a way. We're afraid to come together and make a way. So we have to begin to look at either you make a way or you're going to be there to stay. And then you begin to look at what about Hosea Williams. I love Hosea Williams. He said, I'm unbossed and unbossed. Some of us can be bought for a thin dime. Some of us can be bought for a position. Some of us can be bought for many things. I can be many places, but when I have to stand on somebody else's rug, they can pull that rug from under me anytime they want. sell your very being to become where somebody else wants you to be, then you are bought and you are bought. So we go back to Hosea Williams. Then we begin to look at, as we continue the freedom roll call. What about Emmett Till? Because they said that he whistled, looking at a white woman, beat him to death. A teenager, a kid, but yet and still we keep trying to run after that doesn't want us. What about Rosa Parks? And what about a young lady called Claudette Colvin? Now, Rosa was not the first woman to give up her seat. We don't want to talk the truth about that either, do we? Claudette Colvin was. She went to jail. But see, we have to present people in a certain way, and I understand all of that. But the bottom line is, don't forget the people that were there. We continue with the roll call. What about the Little Rock Nine? You remember when you go back and you think about the 4 girls who died in the 16th Street church fire. And what about the Freedom Riders? Burned and mocked and beaten and killed. What about Malcolm X?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about Malcolm X. Because many of you have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and he spoke truth. He's dead because of the truth. And many of us don't want to talk about the truth. So we move on from Malcolm X. And you begin to look at and think about Daisy Bates.
Yeah.
What about Julian Bond?
All right, doing for
All of these people, I just want you to take this journey with me. What about Dick Gregory?
all right.
Dick Gregory always has something to say. And he's still talking. When we think about it, what about H. Rap Brown? Who said if you're white, you're white. If you're brown, stick around. If you're black, get back, get back. He spoke the truth. But we don't want to talk about that. And then when you think about it, you have to begin to look at Eleanor Holmes Norton, Barbara Jordan, congressional women. We think about Carol Moseley Brown. What about looking at Charlie Rangel? And how about Frances Cress Wellesley, a psychiatrist? I just spoke about her. We think about and we begin to look at all of the people that have been there. Maxine Waters, who's still out there fighting. What about Joseph Lowry?
Yeah.
Still out there. Even in his wheelchair. What about Trayvon Martin, who died over some Skittles? What about Michael Brown, who was shot down in the middle of a Ferguson street, laid there for hours and hours, not even being covered up? What about Walter Scott, who was running away from the police officer, shot in the back, and for were not for someone who was a witness and filming it, we would have never known. They kept the journey going. When you think about it, what about Freddie Gray? You think about it. What about Sandra Bland? Stopped on the street, taken to jail, killed, but nobody knew what happened. What about C.T. Vivian? Let's look at the SCLC, the NAACP. What about Eric Garner? I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And most of us don't want to admit, all day and some days, most of us can't breathe. We can't breathe. We're still suffocating because we're still under the auspices of slavery in a different form. When you go to work and you're not getting promoted. When you're at your job and no one respects you. When they're bringing somebody under you and make you supervise them to get to where you should be. What about the house that you want to get? And when they look at you, they're not willing to allow you to get it. And if you think that there's not redlining going on, look at your insurance bill. If you think that they don't know you're African American, they do.
Oh, they do.
I remember when I was getting my office in Avondale Estate, and the guy said to me, we've already Googled you. And so there are things that they do, but we think we have arrived. The bottom line is, and the truth is, we have not. When you begin to look at it, all you have to do is to remember and think about Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old, just being a kid. No questions asked, and he's murdered. What about Congressman John Lewis? What about President Barack Obama, the first black president? What about John Evans, the president of the NAACP? Look at yourself. What about you? things that we've had to do in making sure that we look at the truth. What makes these people famous and great? The fact is many of them died. The fact is that many of them chose to be different. They didn't care about being different. Many of them didn't have any fear. Many of them rose up and said, you know what? No matter what happens, I'm going to be who I am. Well, what do I have to do next? You want liberty? You want freedom? You want justice? Then you have to recognize that liberty, freedom, and justice all are no longer means that you have to live with fear and hate. We look in the mirror and we don't like what we see. We still have the light skin and the dark skin stuff going on. We still have that thing about the haves and the have-nots. And you're not even on the own network.
I'm periscoping it. I'm streaming live.
DENIAL. You don't even know it's all a lie. And I'm not talking about denial river. I'm talking about denial of what the reality is. You hate yourself and you hate your brother. You hate your brother because you look at yourself and you don't like who you are. Then you begin to look at it. We don't have that love that we used to have for each other. That care we used to have for each other. You think about it, and the bottom line comes down to is that, again, as I said, we were better off when we were colored. And we have this African American flag. We don't want to share with each other anymore. We have a fear. We have a fear of actually standing up. A fear to speak the truth. We have a fear to take a stand. And my thing is, either you stand for something or you fall for anything. That's right. And many of us fall for the okie doke all the time, not realizing what it's going to do to us. We have a fear to choose. Choosing the right thing. Choosing the right people. Choosing the right relationships. We keep reaching down on the ground to pick people up. As I say to women all the time, he had on plaids and stripes when you met him. He's going to have on plaids and stripes when you get him. Oftentimes, what you get is what you saw. So you've got to set your sights higher. As a people, we've got to reach for the sky. You have a choice to either soar with the eagles or you're going to be on the ground clucking with the chickens. It's your choice. So we've got to begin to choose who we get with, and we wonder why sometimes we get our kids, we wind up with baby's kids, and all these things like that. Because we have to look at, are we evenly yoked? Should I be with this person? Women, you've got to stop getting with these men who choose you, and you didn't have a choice in the matter.
On your phone. It's
I have
an
three daughters, and I said that to them all the time.
It's an app.
Men,
And then what I can do is I can take the video
that you don't want
off
to
of the
marry,
phone
and that you
and
don't
put
want
it
to
on
be with,
YouTube.
and to be the mother of your children. We have to begin to look at it. We have more children.
Just Google
Over 70% of our households
I'll write it down.
are headed by women. And we wonder why our children are doing well in school. It's a wonder Johnny and Mary making it to school every day. With bullets flying around them. They don't know how they're going to eat. They don't know where things are coming from. Over 71% of the children in the DeKalb County School District are eating free lunch. Something is wrong with that picture. We don't hold our men accountable anymore. We have more men killing their women because they're psychologically unstable. We don't want to deal with mental health issues. We have health fair, but we forget about the mental health problem. If your mind is not right, and your heart is not right, and your spirit is not right, your physical will not. A man can't head a house if he's laying down. Whoa. He's got to be standing up. He's got to have a job. And the real out of Adam's side doesn't mean being back to back and men side by side, holding each other up. We got to teach our boys how to be men. Teach them how to respect women. Teach our women to respect their men. Teach them to know that if you miss one bus, then the other one comes, let that one go. The bottom line comes down to how do I do what I need? How do we come together? Having a choice in the matter and saying that I'm going to choose what's best for me. We have forgotten to remember that if you want liberty and you want justice and you want freedom, you've got to think independently. You don't need anybody over you telling you how to think, what to say. And we love to do that. She doesn't think like me. You know, I went to a forum the other week, and the guy who was hosting the forum at one of his churches, and I stepped up in there. I know I was looking good. I had on my green checkered dress, I had on my heels, and I had on my pearls. Another said, what the And so I stepped up in there looking good. So the man told me a few days later, and he said, someone said to him, and Dr. Joyce had the nerve to have on green. I said, you tell them I am free. You're free? I don't want to dress like anybody else. I don't want to look like anybody else. Right. I choose to wear my hair like this because that's what I choose. And when you know that you know that you know, when I look in the mirror, I say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest looking of them all? It's got to be me. You got to be free to be you. Short hair, long hair, heavy, slim, hoopty, Mercedes, on the bus line, on the hill, in the valley, no matter what. Recognize that God didn't make any junk. And then you got to be free to vote. We got to stop voting for people who can't do anything, not want to do anything. Stop voting for people that don't know. If I'm not doing what I need to do, don't vote for me either. The bottom line comes down to stop putting these people in place who keep doing the same old thing. The greatest gift you can tell someone, give to someone, is to tell them the truth. You haven't done what you're supposed to do. I need you to do this. But then we have to also begin to look at, don't throw people away until you give them a chance to correct. You've got to coach people along the way. You've got to help people to understand what they need to do. People don't change, and I want you to remember this. Dr. Joyce, people don't change, people grow. They grow through having awareness, insight, and understanding. And if somebody doesn't help them, we don't want to give people jobs because you don't have the experience. Well, where are they going to get it? We have to run into the only door, not the truth, and recognizing that we are so filled with hatred and we're so in denial that we bought into this stuff that we don't want to help anybody. Now, they can do whatever they want. We can't help anybody. And what we have to recognize, the only time that you should be looking down on a man is when you're picking him up. And you should be able to say that I got to where I am, not on the backs of anybody. If somebody lifts you up on their shoulders, that's okay. But it will never be that I'm stepping on anybody to get to where I need to get. We got to and then we get down to it. You must be able to recognize that liberty, freedom, justice come with a price. You remember the slave camps? Did you ever think about it? I thought about this a lot. There'd be 1,000, 10,000 slaves. There would be one master, 10 overseers. They had mullet guns. They didn't have any AK-47. They didn't have any of the big guns that I knew. There was nothing that they could get out. They didn't even have real rifles. You had a few that had an insurrection mind. You had the field Negroes and you had the house Negroes. But somehow, those 10,000 could not raise and rise themselves up against 100. Think about it today. 397 years later, when we begin to look at all of this, all of us that's in this room, all of us in DeKalb, I was saying to a friend of mine yesterday, it might have been this morning, this is still an at-will state. We have not thought enough to fight against it. The laws that are in this state, I moved here and I've been surprised, I've been shocked, and I'm still shocked 25 years later. Because there are things that are done here. The Bible Belt, done on the books of the Bible at the sake of other people. Disrespected, no righteousness. Not looking at people as if they matter. But yet and still, we seem to be in denial about what's really going on. These are the things we need to fight. The petty laws that they go to court with. The petty laws that we allow legislators to put out there. And we don't ever come back and say, that's not what's necessary. What about the economy in the African American neighborhood? They tore down the projects in Atlanta. Took all those people from the projects. Threw them out here in the suburbs. Gave them Section 8. You can't take people who are accustomed to being stacked up and spread them out and think that they're going to have to take care of the house. So when they start barbecuing in their driveway, with the garage door open, and we want to criticize them, they've never been taught. You don't know how to cut grass if you're using concrete. Nobody wants to talk about that. As you look
good point.
Think about it.
Can't argue with that.
The price that's been paid. Our children paying a dear price. And I want you to know that any time there's a kill-off, they kill the children first. Jim Jones killed the children first. The governor is trying to kill education by the children first. All of that's true. We've got to start looking at our black males with their pants hanging down and say, boy, pull your pants up. We've got to not only tell them to pull their pants up and keep them up, and not let their minds be at the bottom instead of the top. They've got to learn how to think with their heads and not with their penises. They've got to bring it true and to the point. We've got to teach our girls that that's not the way you go. Love doesn't come from sex. There's more to love than with sex. So when we begin to look at it and we begin to think about it and we look at there's a price, the price of death sometimes, the price of giving up some things. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do if you're talking about that price? We've got to be able to say that no more guns. And you know why they won't put guns? Because who is being killed by the guns? Every day you turn on TV, there's another one of our black males killing one of them. There's something wrong with that picture. So if I can kill you off and allow you to kill yourself, then that's the thing I don't have to worry about. I don't have to do anything. And if you think that anybody's going to give you free education, a college education, they don't want you to have a free high school education. Think somebody's going to give you free health, they won't even allow affordable health care in the state of Georgia. So it's like, think, people, think. It hasn't happened all along. Barack Obama couldn't do it. So somebody comes in here and sells you a bill of goods that's not worth anything. I always tell my daughters, and I tell people, young ladies especially, don't take anyone's nickel, because they don't roll and they don't speak. So you've got to be real about what's going on.
That's why we got to go down there to the Gold Dome and hold them accountable, and that's what I'm going to do.
When you begin to think about it and look at the fact that there's a price. The African proverbs say, call on clothes, clothes don't matter. Call on gold, gold don't answer. It's about the people. When do we come back and recognize that it's about the people? So as we move forward, I'm about to close shortly, you have to recognize that you have to have a spiritual connection in order to have freedom, justice, and liberty. It's not all about you. Now I call him God. I don't know what anybody else calls him, and I don't worry about that. It's like having a connector. You know when you want to plug in something electrical, you want an outlet that's going to give some current for it to connect, right? Well, I have a connector, but I can plug in any time. So when you do me wrong and you step on me, instead of me trying to get back at you, I just plug into the connector and I get on my knees and I pray. And you have to decide whether it's all about you or there's a power greater than you. So we wonder why we're still sometimes stuck, because we've forgotten to remember how we got to where we are. We think that we got here on our own and not recognizing that there's a power, there's a God that's greater than us. We treat each other wrong because we've forgotten to remember. We forget to pray. We do it on our own way. But as long as you don't pray, you do it in your own way, you're going to stray. The bottom line comes down to it. You must have a spiritual connection. And we've forgotten. We've gotten so high and mighty that we don't even call upon the Lord's name. We've gotten so high and mighty, we don't go to church. We've got so high and mighty, we got children in our house. We go to church and in the synagogue, wherever you go, and you say to them, get up and tell you, I'm not going. Who's the master in that house? How do you have a child to tell you what they're going to do? We stop parenting and let the children be the parents. We need to recognize and help these children to be able to see that it's not that outside that makes you feel good. They don't need $200 and $300 pair of sneakers on their feet. They don't need somebody to stand behind them. My philosophy with my daughters, and they all have PhDs, that you can wear plain pocket jeans and still feel good about yourself. The bottom line comes down to you. You can't be in my house and you want me on a Sunday morning or Saturday, whenever you go, with a spiritual connection, and not get up and go with you. And you have to lead them. You don't send them, you lead them. And you got to recognize that spiritual connection gets you to see, I can give life, I can't take life. I'm not going to kill anybody else. And then one of the last things you have to recognize, liberty, justice, and freedom, is that you have to come together and recognize that as you go through a process, the truth about your past. Marcus Garvey says you hurt the nose, the eye cries. Every child belongs to you and me. I say things to children and to guys. I was coming from the airport one day, and I was on the escalator, and this guy ran behind me. I mean, he had everything showing in the back. And so I hollered up there, and I said, boy, pull up your pants. So the white guy next to me said, what are you doing? He's pulling them up, isn't he? I be in public. Sometimes I say, boy, pull up your pants. Those pants would look better if you had them pulled up. One boy told me, he said, I thought you were my mom. I said, good. So as we go through this process, regaining the village concept, it does take a village to raise children.
Exactly.
IDA wouldn't have all the trouble he's
That's so
had
true.
with the children, having to lock them up. All the things that's being done. If we recognize to remember our past, how we got here. If you look around sometimes, every time you flip that light switch on, remember the people that sat with lamps. The shacks. You know, the psychologists and the psychiatrists said they could not understand why we ran away from the slave camp. They said they couldn't understand. You got food, slop. You got a house, shacks. You got clothes, rags. But that's their beliefs about us. That we accept less. We look for less. We don't want anything. That we don't want the best. If you remember your past and stop trying to run away from it, you will see that things will be a lot better. And then, lastly, I want to give you all a challenge.
Okay.
And the challenge comes down to, what are you willing to do for liberty, for freedom, and for justice? Not just for yourself. Not just for this room. Not just for your church. But every time you go out there, and you remember, I didn't used to have all that. I wasn't in this political position. And when you have to be a politician and sell your very soul, and lie and cheat and steal, something is wrong with that. When you're on a board and you can't tell the truth and stand for something, and you know that's right, something is wrong with that. What are you willing to do?
Oh, trust me, he already posted.
For liberty, justice, and to have freedom, not just for yourself. And I want to ask you another question. What can you do? See, there's some things you can do, and there's some things you're not willing to do. So I give my clients that assignment. What can you do in order to hold this marriage together? I can do 10 things, but what are you willing to do? I'm only willing to do 5. So it comes down to, what can you do for our people 397 years later? Shame and a disgrace. We're the only group of people that are not together. You can go down to Miami, and the buildings are painted whatever color they want to have painted. You can go in different areas. Go to New York. Or in fact, go over here, right here in DeKalb County, and they have their own section. A people without a past is a lost group of people.
That's right, man.
When do we stop looking down our nose at people because they're not where we are? That man on the street who's drunk. That woman who's on the street who's homeless. But therefore go you. We have to recognize all those people weren't homeless all forever and a day. Some of them are educated people. Some of them are good people. Who decides what's bad? And as pastors, the pastors would tell you, and I'm not trying to be one, but when God comes back, you don't know who's going to be called up. Those who think that might not be are going to be the ones left behind. So we've got to stop looking down on people. I also want to say to you, can you, will you honor the pledge? You pledge to a flag all the time.